Hey, what's going on, guys? Krin here, and today we're going to be going over and reviewing Spice and Wolf, which is widely considered to be a classic among a large majority of the anime community, myself included. In fact, this is actually one of my favorite series of all time. Just like last time when we reviewed Trinity 7, we're going to be going over the story, art, sound, characters, my personal enjoyments, my overall rating, and a discussion portion at the end just for some extra stuff. So without further ado, let's get straight into the review. So starting things off, we've got the story, which I rated a 10 out of 10. And the reason I rated it a 10 out of 10 is because the actual idea is very unique and it's executed very cleanly. Everything fits together nicely. There's true motivation in the story, that being Lawrence's drive to become a great peddler and open up a shop, which is constantly reminded to us throughout the series, by the way. And you never really know what's going to happen. Some things that happen are really unexpected, just like economics in general, which is what the story is really about. It's economics and Lawrence's peddler business. The only thing that I can complain about the story is that it can be confusing if you're not paying attention to most of the details that they go over. Obviously, it's economics, so if you're like me and you're not very experienced in it, you're not going to understand a lot of what's going on. I could kind of get the grasp of things, but, at some points it was definitely confusing, and I just couldn't really get a hold of what was going on. But other than that, I think the story is fantastic, 10 out of 10. Next, onto the art, which I rated a 7 out of 10. The reason I rated a 7 out of 10 and not higher is because the animation quality isn't very smooth. The actual art style is nice, in my opinion, but it doesn't show a lot of detail unless it's a close-up, which in general is kind of something that a lot of anime nowadays does as well. Obviously, it was good for its time. The anime was made in 2008, 2009, so more than 10 years ago when this was made. So obviously, I'm not saying that the art quality was bad for its time or anything. It's kind of aged a bit. Obviously, I still like the style. I think the character designs are also very nice. It's just aged a bit, which is why I gave it a 7 out of 10. Next, we've got the sound, which I rated a 9 out of 10. I think that the voice actors did an excellent job for each of their individual roles. The sound effects are great. The reason that I gave the sound such a high score specifically is because of the openings and endings. I think the OST in this anime is phenomenal. Specifically the first ending and opening, I loved those. I love all four of them, but I really liked the first ending and the first opening. Those are really probably some of my favorites in all of anime, in all honesty. They just bring out a lot of emotions in me. Likely because I watched this anime once before over like 9 months ago, so it kind of brings back a sense of nostalgia. Other than that, I think the voice actors did a great job, sound effects are great, and obviously the openings and endings are amazing, so that's why I gave the sound a 9 out of 10. Next up, we have the characters, which I rated a 10 out of 10. So the characters have a lot of depth to them, specifically Lawrence and Holo. Lawrence has a clear goal in which he strives to achieve, that being opening up his own store, becoming a great peddler. His actions are also very consistent with his personality. For example, in the scene where he pushes away Holo out of anger, he immediately feels regret and believes that what he's done is unforgivable, even though Holo herself thought that she was the one completely in the wrong. Speaking of Holo, Holo has a really rich backstory that we were given a glimpse of in the anime. I believe they go over it a bit more in the light novels. Other than that, her personality can also change a bit from time to time depending on the situation, though they're usually facades that she takes on. For example, in the Fool's Gold art, Holo completely changes her attitude towards Lawrence. However, most of it was done on purpose in order to keep Lawrence in the dark about her plan. If you've watched the anime, you know what I'm talking about. Other than that, generally speaking, every action a character takes has a genuine reason behind it. They're not just taking actions for the sake of doing it. The character designs are really great, and Holo is best girl. No one can debate me on that. Again, the characters, I rated a 10 out of 10. As for my personal enjoyment of the series, I rated it a 9 out of 10. I loved seeing the interactions between Lawrence and Holo. Holo herself is a really fun character to watch. The only thing I will say is that I did get confused a few times, economics and all, I'm not too familiar with it all. But other than that, I think that I really enjoyed this anime, and actually I plan on purchasing the light novels at some point in the near future. As for my overall rating of Spice and Wolf, I would give it a 10 out of 10. I really, really enjoy this series. Like, everything in the series just makes sense, which is one of the problems that I had with Trinity 7, if you remember. I talked about it in the story section. I just really wanted to point out that this story of Spice and Wolf is so in-depth. The characters are amazing. The sound is great. The only thing that was a little bit less than stellar for me was the art, but then again, it was made over 10 years ago, so not that big of a deal. In general, I would highly recommend this series to anyone. Regardless of what genre you're into, I think that anyone can really get into Spice and Wolf. I understand that it's not for everyone, but at least check it out, because it's definitely one of my favorite series of all time. With that being said, that's going to end out today's video. Thanks for watching. I'll leave a link to my profile for my anime list in the description below if you want to go check that out. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.